My family moved to Richmond when I was about 4.5 years old. I started school that fall at Elba. In the 4th grade, we moved to Northside, and I transferred to Norrell. I did my junior high school at Benjamin A. Graves. That's when efforts to desegregate Richmond public schools began. Several of us were handpicked by whoever the leaders were at that time to give us extra training as to what to do, how to handle ourselves as children. That would have made us about 12 years old at that time. We had fantastic teachers. I remember teachers just talking about how well they wanted to prepare us. Teachers all along the way were encouraging us to be a part of the movement, be a part of the community. I was amazed at how they told us the mean things that people would do to us, but that we could not respond. People are going to holler at you, they might even spit on you, they may throw something at you, this, that, and the other, but you have to be strong. And so with all of that training, it just prepared us for whatever eventuality would come. We were told when we got off the bus we had to walk straight into the school, keep our eyes focused on the school, and not worry about what people were hollering out at us or saying to us. You know, the big N word, of course, was used profusely. We had to be very strong. We were already proud of our ancestry and proud in a sense of who we were as people of African descent. But we were even prouder that we could make such a difference in our whole nation. Why they chose me, I don't know. My parents were very active in the PTA. It was a conglomeration of groups that were pushing for integration. Church leaders, some PTA leaders, the NAACP. What I was reminded of through that is how much of a slippery slope the adults were on just by being affiliated with the effort to integrate the schools. Any black person involved in that effort that had a reasonable job of any kind could go in the next day and be fired. So that's how tense and terrible the relationships were at that point. Carmen Foster, who researched the history of integration at Chandler, learned that when the Pupil Placement Board reviewed the transfer request to Chandler, made by Oliver Hill on behalf of my parents and 10 of my peers, they outright denied 9, all 7th and 8th graders. The final judgment on the 2 9th graders, myself and Bernard Gilpin, suggested that we would need to fill out an application to begin the maze of administrative meanderings. By the time we could conceivably overcome these hurdles, we would be 10th graders attending Maggie Walker High, making our entry into Chandler a moot point. The unofficial board notes reveal that every impediment was carefully constructed to thwart us entering Chandler. So nothing happened. The schools were not desegregated before I left Benjamin Graves, and I went on into Maggie Walker High School, and the whole effort to integrate was still going on. We had to be so determined, even when you got tired. I mean, that was the main thing that you just had to get over. When you're demonstrating, get over your fatigue, your own loss of strength, just from hours and hours of walking around. It just wears you out physically and emotionally. But you began to have conversations with people that you don't even know. But they're there for the same reason that you are. Greater strength for the movement comes from the people who are involved. from the people who are actually on the line, because they're the ones who will hold you up. They're the ones who will encourage you. There were some African Americans who just couldn't buy into the plan. They saw us as rabble-rousers. They saw us as troublemakers. And why don't you just wait? Just keep quiet. Things are going to change. Sometimes you gotta make things change and not wait for change because other people don't have the same sense of urgency or don't suffer to the same degree. When Richmond schools finally desegregated, it showed the rest of the community that the fight, that the struggle had been worthwhile, and that those who had sat on the sidelines had made the wrong choice. I think it showed how a few folk being determined could change anything. So it was a new sense of empowerment for our community, a new sense to know we must always stand for what is right, no matter what it cost us. I remember the time when the policemen brought their dogs, their growling dogs. We were picketing in front of the movie theater, and I discovered I had no fear. I had learned, I had been taught, I had been trained to embrace what was right, to stand up for what was right, to give voice to those who did not know what to do or say. But even more so, Martin Luther and Martin Luther King Jr., with them I could say, here I stand. When I went to India many years later, they were singing "We Shall Overcome" in Hindi. And when Germany was finally reunited, when that wall came down, they were singing "We Shall Overcome" in German. And it was one of the songs that no matter where I went, people knew that song, the signature song of the whole struggle to be free. And so, being able to dart around various places in the world and hear the song took me all the way back to childhood. It galvanized a whole movement in me all over again every time I heard it. And many times I could not verbalize it.